This is CMF Radio, live from London.
You are now in the mix.
Hi everyone, today I would like to explain to you in a live stream tutorial how to create custom post types using CPT UI and advanced custom fields to promote shows, radio shows on the website of your online radio station. So we will dive in straight away and go to our website cmfradio.com, and on our website cmfradio.com you can discover here the list of the forthcoming shows coming up on CMF Radio. The next one will be DJ Globule on Friday at 7 p.m. Then Robin Schulz and a few shows hosted by DJ Boots, as you can see. And I have created the list of shows using both custom CPT UI and advanced custom fields. I will show you how it used to look before I decided to use this option. So this is the way it used to look right here in the middle of the page. It's a bit grayed out at the moment. I can just display it for you so that it's clearer. So let's remove this rule right here. So we used to have static presentations of the different shows. So you couldn't click through. The only thing you could do was display a bigger image, but there was no post behind the presentation of the show. So there was no content behind the presentation of the show. And if I wanted to add another show, I could just duplicate this line and manually add another widget with the presentation of the next show. It's not the best way to do it. You want to have a page dedicated to each show with all the details, the biography of your host, the presentation of the show, maybe widgets with MixCloud players of the replay of the previous shows, this type of thing. At the end of the day, you will end up with something like this, for instance. So this is the presentation of Forgotten Gems, co-hosted by DJ Boots. You have here the genre of the show, music and talk, the country of origin of the host, the day of the week when this show takes place, the frequency, the duration, the UK time, CT time, the show description, the biography of the host, a video of the host. You have also a photo, the date of the next show, a link to the website of the host, and also a link to discover other shows on CMF Radio. And as I told you, a player with the replay of the latest show that we did, as you can see. This was all created using two plugins, CPT UI and Advanced Custom Post Type. So let's go to the dashboard of WordPress right here. So as you can see in the sidebar, you have a plugin called CPT UI, which I added, and another plugin which is called Advanced Custom Field, which you can find here under Custom Fields. We will start first by discovering what I did to add a custom post type called shows. As you can see in my sidebar, I have the post, so the usual blog post if you want, the pages, which I can use for an about us page, a contact page for instance, so static pages, and I have three different custom post types. Artists for my favorite indie artists, golden oldies artists for a presentation of some oldies artists, and the brand new one, shows. So it was just created by adding a new post type to custom post type UI, so CPT UI. The only thing you have to bear in mind is that if you scroll down, you have to activate the archive option. So by default it's false. So has archive by default is false. It doesn't have any archive, but you want to have an archive page to create a template for the archive page, because if people go to your website and type, for instance, radio.callmefred.com/shows, you want them to see all the shows, the archive of the shows. So this option has archive has to be activated true. So it's by default false, so activate it true and then update your custom post type. I have removed a few items that I didn't need on the page of the custom post type. I could even remove the editor because I don't need the editor on the custom post type. All the fields are advanced custom fields via the plugin advanced custom field, so I don't need the editor that is by default provided with a WordPress post, so I can update this. Okay, so the next step was to create a set of fields with all the data that we need for each show. You have to go to field groups in the advanced custom field plugin and add a new field group and attach the field group, as you can see, to your custom post type, so that this field group will only appear for the custom post type show, because this is the purpose of this field group. Then you can choose where you want to show this field group. So I show it just after the title of the custom post type with the labels left aligned. This is easier to fill in. Yeah, I don't want the content editor on the screen, I don't want the categories, I don't want the tags, and these are all the fields that I created. So you can just add multiple fields, as many as you want basically for each custom post type, but remember that if you add a field to a custom post type, you will need to add a zone, an area in your template to display this field in the front end. So if you add a new field, a new piece of data to your custom post type, don't forget to update your template. We move to the template just after we discover the field. So the fields are, for instance, a title, which is a text field. Then we have here the image of the show, which is actually the image of the host. We have the show description, which is a text area. We have the style or the genre of the show. We have the host name, the duration in minutes. We have the country of origin of the host. We have the frequency of the show, day of the week of the show, a short biography of the host, a YouTube link connected to the host, the URL of his or her official website, or the URL of a Spotify playlist, for instance. We have also the hour when it takes place UK time and the hour when it takes place Central European time. We have the date of the next show. This is a date picker type of field, so it's easy to choose the date of your forthcoming show so that you can display it on the front end and also sort the shows ascending by the dates. So this is a very important field for the shows, the date of the next show. And here just the shortcode of the last show in MixCloud. So we use the shortcode format to display it on the front end. So if I go to MixCloud, for instance, and I go to one of my shows and I do share, okay, and I go to the embed player, I have to tick the WordPress option and just copy the MixCloud shortcode that I will use in each of my shows. So let's see, for instance, how this looks like behind the scenes for a specific show. So this is one of the shows. Okay, I will update it. Maybe we'll remove the block right there. Let me just update it completely. Yes, you see, I've removed the default editor because I don't need it, because all the data is contained in the custom fields. So I have the title of the page, then I have the title of the show, the image that I uploaded, which is the same as the featured image in this case, a short description of the show, the style of the show, host name, duration, host country, frequency. all this data, I just filled it in manually in all the fields that were created using, as I showed you, advanced custom fields in the admin. Okay. Then I filled in the SEO information, so the focus key phrase, the title, the meta description. This is what you will see appearing on Facebook or on Google in Google search. Very important. And that's it basically. So then if I publish or if I update, all my data is being created for my show. But I need to create a template for this specific custom post type. So for the custom post type show. Otherwise, nothing is displayed on the front end. So this template in our example has already been created. So this is a template which enables me to show you all this data on the front end, and I can show you how it was done in the back end. So I opened and let me show you maybe something important. So if we go back to the dashboard, so the template will be created through the template section here, and then you go to Team Builder, okay, and then you go to Single, and then you can add here a new template and create a new template. And as you can see, I have a show template, so which is attached to the custom post type show and will be used for all the shows. And the cool thing about using this templating approach connected to advanced custom field is that all the data that will be displayed on this page will be dynamic. Let me show you. So for instance, here you can see that this field is the post title. So it's self-explaining. It will be dynamic based on the title of this specific post. If we go here, this is a heading field. But what I did was to use this dynamic tag. Here you can see dynamic tag option, and then choose my ACF field, advanced custom field, right here. And here, what I do is go and choose my host name, as you can see. And I can add an introduction to it. So I can say, okay, it's hosted by DJ Boots, like this. Or I can just say, to make it shorter, host and space, and that would be DJ Boots right here. So the dynamic data is DJ Boots. This is static attached to it. Here I have the genre, okay, the style. So it was also an advanced custom field, style. Here I have the country. The country, as you can see here, host country with country just before it, like this, country. Here I have the day of the week. I have the duration. So I don't know why. Yes, minute with a dot there. Actually, I can remove the dot. I don't need the dot. So I'm doing it like this. My show description. So this is a static headline. Here it's I would say a semi-dynamic headline because DJ Boots is the host name. But then you have after that S biography. So this part is static. This part is static. This part is dynamic. Then I have the biography of my host. Here I have a video player, and the video player obviously also takes a dynamic piece of data, which is the YouTube link attached to my custom post type. Right here I have the image of the show. Next show is a static headline, but the date is dynamic. The date is the date of the next show, which comes from the advanced custom field, as you can see right here. This button is partly dynamic. The name of the host is dynamic, and the more info about is static. So if I go to the text here, I can see my host name, and just before that, more info about and the space. And the destination is dynamic. This is the host URL that I've added just right here, dynamic, coming from my advanced custom field also, as you can see right here. And then I have my player, my MixCloud player. So my MixCloud player is just a shortcode field, which is also dynamically fed by this last piece of data in my profile, in the profile of the show, the last show on MixCloud, which is a WordPress shortcode. Very important for a MixCloud shortcode to work in Elementor. What I needed to do was to add and activate the JetPack plugin from WordPress, and to activate in the writing settings this option, which is compose using shortcodes to embed media from popular site. Otherwise, it doesn't work, and you end up with the shortcode here in plain text instead of showing you the player. So you need to install and activate JetPack, the plugin by Automatic WordPress, and activate this option here in the writing section of JetPack to have this shortcode from MixCloud working properly on your WordPress site. It's very important to know. So after all the templating work on this specific custom post type, I was ready with all my custom post type, with all my posts, if you want, all my show posts, and I needed to create a way to display the list of shows on my homepage, like I did right here. Okay. And to be able to do this and to add this dynamic information to the preview, the date of the next show, as you can see here, I needed to create a loop template. So this is another type of template. I have a template for the custom post type, for the show, and I have a template specifically for the preview of this custom post in a list of posts. The way you do this is you go to templates, also in Elementor, in the sidebar, and you choose loop, and then you can add a new template for a loop. Okay, I will show you how it was done for my show. So I will open it in Elementor. Might take a little while depending on the speed of my internet connection tonight. Here we go. So you won't see this piece of text obviously in the grid. It's just the title of the template of the loop. It will be also shrunk to the side, reduced to the width it will occupy in the grid. So as you can see here, you don't have a long headline read with the white text. It's restricted to the width it occupies in the grid. But you can add some dynamic information right here. Like for instance, the date of the next show. It's very easy, same principle. You will add a text area on your page, and you will connect it to an advanced custom field right here. As you can see, the date of the next show, so it will appear right here. This is a static piece of information. Next show, this is a headline right here, Forgotten Gems, and this is the image, the featured image of the post. So then it will be applied to all the elements in the loop, all the elements in your list of posts, as you can see right here. So if I open this section, this module, which is called post in Elementor, as you can see, instead of using my classic display mode, which would have been only the image and the title of the post, I use a custom skin that I created, show grid. And this custom skin will display the date and all the information I want to show in the preview, which is pretty nice, as you can see. And as you can see also, the posts are displayed in ascending order based on the date of the next show. And to manage to do this, you need to go to your theme function.php, functions.php. So you find this by going to Appearance and then Theme Editor. Ideally, you will create a child theme. So a theme that won't be affected. I mean, that won't be affected by further updates of your theme. What I mean is that if you create some custom code in a child theme, and if you update the main theme, your custom code won't disappear. Otherwise, if you just add custom code to the functions.php of your main theme and you update the main theme, because you have to regularly update your main theme, it will just wipe out all your custom code. So it will, for instance, remove this bit of code that I have added to my child theme. The way you can easily create a child theme based on your main theme, as you can see here, I'm using Hello Elementor, that's my theme, and this is a child theme of Hello Elementor, is by adding a plugin. I can show you that, which is called Child Theme Configurator. So you add Child Theme Configurator, then it's very easy. Let's go there to create a child theme based on the main theme. Here it's Hello by Elementor. Then you have to go to Files and to add the files that you want to be able to modify in the child theme. So I added, for instance, functions.php. When all of that has been done, you can go to Appearance, Theme Editor, functions.php, and then here add the little bit of code that I've added here to be able to display the posts based on the ascending order of the next show. But something to remember before that, you need to have the proper query ID for this part of the code. As you can see, show date right here, and here next show will be obviously dependent on what you have chosen. So let's come back to the list of shows. So the list of shows right here. Okay, so I choose this widget, this module. If I go to the query part, so which determines which query is applied to display the posts in a specific order, instead of using the default date or title or menu order queries, I've created a custom query called show_date. Show_date. It might be anything, but you have to remember what you have chosen. This is the query ID that I will use here in my code. As you can see, show date. So I add an action so that I can perform a specific query, which will be called show date in Elementor. And what I want to do is order in ascending order my post based on the date, which I will find in my advanced custom field under the label next show. Because if I go back to my advanced custom field, let's go here. Yes, let's close this maybe, or just go down below. Yes, my next show, as you can see here. This is the label, and the field name here is next_show, next_show, and then I've got my date picker. So the concept of this piece of code is to display in ascending order based on the next show date. So this is the field name, and this will be the name of my custom query. I will copy on YouTube in the show notes this bit of code and tell you what you have to replace, obviously, for your own query. But this is very important, because otherwise you can just display your shows based on the publication date of your post, but it will be completely messed up because you can publish today a show for I would say that will happen within 2 months, and tomorrow you can publish a show that will take place sooner. So you can't display your posts on your page, your shows on your page, based on the publication date of your post. And you can't also say, okay, I will use, for instance, a date in the future and order all my posts based on this, I would say, hypothetical publication date, because if you set a date in the future, your post won't be displayed on the page because it's scheduled, it's not yet published. So the only way to do this properly is to create a field which is called next show, for instance, with a date, and then to use this piece of code that I showed you to display your shows based on that date. I hope it is clear. If it's not clear, just ask me questions in the comments under the video, and I will tell you maybe in a clearer way how to do this. But basically, what you have to do is have a specific field in your advanced custom fields, and then use this bit of code in the functions.php of your team, of your child team, to add another custom query to your set of queries in Elementor. So when all of these things have been done, you end up with a very nice presentations of your shows. You can decide how many shows you display per line. So this is in the layout. So in this section, you can say, okay, I want to display 5 shows per line or 4 shows per line. I want to display a maximum of 10 shows per page, for instance. I have just 5 shows lined up at the moment. This one, I will remove it. I just kept it to show you how it used to be. So completely static, no page behind. So let's remove it and let's update the page. And I would like also to show you how the archive page looks like. So if we go to one of the shows, like this one, and if I click on other shows on CMF Radio, like here, I will go to what I call the archive page. So this archive page sits under radio.callmefred.com/shows, and then each show sits under that. So it's, for instance, for this one, let's open it right here. So let's open this show. If I open that show, it's /show/global DJ set rock real Charleroi. But if I just remove the end of it, I will end up with just the archive of the shows. And this is why it was important to activate the archive option right here. So as an archive, yes, that I showed you. Where was it? Let's go here. As archive, yes, true. Otherwise, if it's false, there is no page right here. Important to know also, by default, you don't have that nice look on this archive page with this title and with this presentation, which is the same as the presentation we're using on the home page. By default, it's a vertical succession of posts. So you have also to create a specific template for the archives. You do this exactly the same way as we did to create the template for the post, for the show post, and for the loop in the grid. You go to the templating section, theme builder, but then instead of going to single for a specific post, you go to archive, and you create a specific template for the shows that will be displayed, for instance, like this on this page. I can show you another example of an archive page. If we go to the favorite artists section of cmfradio.com, so this is another archive page, you see, and all of these things right here are custom post types for the artists. So if I click here on Lily's profile, this is also a custom post type, but for an artist. So I have the title, biography that I wrote, link to a website, email, SoundCloud player, 2 videos, link to Facebook page, Spotify, official website, and here a link to the archive page. If we go behind the scene, you will see it looks a bit like the show page. Same concept, created with advanced custom field. So right here you have a list of fields. So the artist name, there could be a logo, the main photo, the story, the YouTube video number 1, number 2, Spotify profile, a Facebook page. So it's the same concept as you can see. And I also created on the other side, in the single section of the templating engine, I created a template for the artist page, also based on the dynamic data that I retrieved from advanced custom fields. So it's exactly the same concept. You can have as many custom post types as you need in your specific setup. So I might have another custom post type in the future for my jingles, for instance, and call it jingles or sounds, and have a list of jingles and each jingle being on its dedicated page, for instance. There are some plugins which provide their own custom post types. You can download plugins like event plugins or e-commerce plugins like WooCommerce for WordPress. And they create on the fly, when you install them, when you activate them, their own custom post types, which end up here in the sidebar of WordPress. I didn't show you, but you can also change the little icon next to the name of the custom post type. It's just a UI detail. So I hope that you understood most of what I tried to explain today. I will also do this tutorial, I think, in French in the next few days. And I will post the replay of this live stream on YouTube. This will enable you to create your own custom post types using CPT UI and advanced custom fields for WordPress. And as I told you, I'm using Elementor Pro by Elementor and the team Hello by Elementor. Thank you for your attention.